So, good afternoon, students. This is our first lecture, first formal lecture. Because yesterday I told you all about how I will be dealing with this course. Okay, so I will not be going through unit wise as mentioned in your syllabus. Instead, I will be delivering the new technological development, the new work which has been done in this area. Okay, so this course is entirely different from the courses which you have studied during your entire BTech, or some student might have studied additive manufacturing or rapid prototyping courses during their BTech as well as MTech. Okay, so for those it will be a kind of revision, and for other students who have not gone through any of such courses on reverse engineering or rapid prototyping or additive manufacturing or 3D printing, this course will be entirely new for such students. Okay, so as I have told that I will be primarily focusing on rapid prototyping and 3D printing, because gradually this course has evolved from rapid prototyping to 3D printing, and now the term which is globally used is additive manufacturing. Okay, so I will start from rapid prototyping. What is rapid prototyping, and uh, uh, what is rapid prototyping and how it started. Okay, so in my PPT you can see a component or a product having multiple features itself, and suppose you want to make this product in a single machining process. Okay, single machining means single manufacturing process. So what does it mean? That this product does not have any assembly. This is a single component. Okay, so imagine how you will be able to you will prepare such kind of product using your conventional machining method. Okay, so if you recall your conventional machining processes, there will be you will have some material block, and you will remove material gradually from the given material block. Okay, so suppose this product, for creating this kind of single piece product, what we will require, we will have a product of dimensions which will be obviously higher than the dimension of the product desired, and we will do machining gradually in steps. Okay, maybe in first step we will create hole, then we will create this cup shape machining for this cup shape, then we will do grinding for this particular surface, then material removal for this particular portion. Okay, and you can see there are complex features. So the kind of machining that will be required in order to get this product without any assembly. Okay, because we are talking that this is a single piece. This is not a assembly. When we are saying this is a single piece, then lot of effort will be required, and even for a normal machinist, it will not be even you take this drawing to a worker, or a machinist who is working in your machine shop. He may immediately raise his hands. He may say that no, I will not be able to produce this kind of product in a single shot, which is without any sub assembly. Okay, so sometimes the product is impossible to be created in single piece. Okay, so 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 for creating such kind of product, we have the technology which is called rapid prototyping. Okay, so there are number of methods in rapid prototyping that I will be discussing whether it is material removal or material addition. Okay, so in this particular PPT, I will be covering fundamental of rapid prototyping, different type of rapid prototyping technologies, their applications, benefits, materials for these processes, and what are the process sequences. And in last, I will be covering various methods of your various methods of manufacturing products through RP processes. Okay, so let us now focus what is RP basically. So RP, this RP is may be defined as it is a fabrication process in which you develop a prototype with minimum lead time based on your CAD model. Okay, so in RP, what we are basically doing, we have some new idea and we want to create new product based on the new idea or the requirement. Okay, so based on the requirement, what we have to do, we will draw a CAD model. In any CAD modeling software, we have a number of CAD software, like basic modeling software is your AutoCAD. Then there are other softwares like ProE, CATIA, SolidWorks. You may create CAD model of your product in any of your CAD modeling software. Okay. So in rapid prototyping, what we are doing, we are first creating CAD model and then we are preparing the prototype based on directly from your CAD model. Okay. So talking about traditional processes, as I told in this figure, that in traditional processes we have machining. Major work is done on machining processes. So in machining, what will be the issue? You will require a significant lead time. It may take several weeks, and depending several weeks, as well as it may not be, you may not be able to get accurate desired product when the product is complex. Okay, so at that time you may feel that it is better to create sub assemblies and later on you may assemble these sub assemblies. Okay, so this is the first category. Then another other category I will be discussing soon. Okay, so in RP, basically when we are creating prototype, so obviously I told it is time consuming. It may require time in hours as well as in days, based on the model which you have a CAD model which you have generated in your modeling software. Okay, so why is RP is important? Let us skip this. First, we may focus on basic categories of RP. Okay, so when we are talking to the conventional machinist in our machine shop, he will say you come up with any metal block, you bring raw material and I will give you the finished product. Okay, and what will be his method? He will be doing machining. Okay, so in either he is doing on conventional lathe or he is using CNC or any other machine. He is removing material and creating the final product as per our requirement. Okay, so in the case of your material removal rapid prototyping processes, we have we have some kind of your metal block which is called your starting material. In this starting material needs to be easy to be machined, and sometimes if needed it should be meltable and resolidifiable. Okay, so for creating rapid product using material removal type of rapid prototyping processes, generally we require CNC. Okay, generally CNC machines are needed. Okay, so for a small component, these may be small desktop type centers. Okay, but for bigger product, you may require big machines, big CNC machines with large working area. Okay, so this is the first kind of category which comes into our mind when we are talking about developing a prototype using your given metal block. Okay, your raw material. Then there is a second category which is called as material addition RP. Okay, so material addition RP, as the name indicate, we are adding material. And how we are adding this material? We are not adding material as a layman. Okay, we are adding material in certain scientific manner. Okay, so what is that scientific manner? What is that mechanical manner? We are adding layer upon layer. Okay, we are adding layers of material at one time to build the solid part from bottom to top. Okay, so why it is written as bottom to top? Because we create one layer of your solid material of your material, then another layer is added on this previously printed layer, then one more layer is added, so your product is moving from bottom to top, from bottom to top. While in the case of machining, what we are doing in machining, we have a metal block, this kind of metal block. Okay, and in what we are doing, we are doing machining certain, suppose drilling we are doing, and we are removing material from this portion. Okay, so in that case, what is happening? This process is, your tool is at top, and your process, your machining is being done in bottom, in the direction of bottom. Okay, so that is why sometimes these material removal processes are called as top to bottom. Okay, but material addition processes are called as in these processes the approach is from bottom to top. Okay, moving ahead, what is the starting material in the case of your RP processes? So the starting material may be liquid monomers, okay, which are cured layered by layer into solid polymers. Okay, so from now onward, I will be focusing primarily on material addition processes. Okay, so because we might not be interested in this complex process, that is material removal processes, while developing your prototype, because these are time consuming, as well as these may not be easy for or the shape or the complexity of the product is so high that we are not able to get our prototype using material removal RP processes. Okay, so that is why we will continue with material addition processes. And in material processes, we have three categories of materials. We have liquid monomers that are cured by layered by layer into solid polymer. Then we have powders. Okay, so we have materials in the form of powder, or we have powder materials, and these powder materials are first aggregated and bonded together to create one layer, and another layer is also added on the previously added layer. So this is called layer by layer. Okay, so we may have second category of material which is called in the form of powders. Okay, so what we do with powders, they are aggregated, they are bonded, and one layer, as soon as this this one layer is completed, we add another layer on the previously added layer. Then we have third category of materials. These are called as solid seeds. So these solids in this third category, we have solid seeds, very thin seeds, and these thin seeds are laminated on one seed over another seed. Okay, so these seeds are laminated. There will be one seed, then another seed will be laminated over the previously laminated seed. Then we add the next seed, then so on. Okay, so this way your solid product is created from. Suppose we have one seed like this, then we have added another seed like this, then we have added another laminated seed laminated above this. So this way we are able to get your solid part. Okay, so in this you can see one layer, two layer, and third layer. Then you may add another layer. Okay, so this way your fabrication of solid parts takes place when we are using solid seeds as our material. Okay, so there are other additional methods in addition to starting material. The various material addition RP technologies use different method of building and adding layer to layer to create solid parts. Okay, so these we will be discussing in detail in coming time. Okay, so let us come to the steps involved in creating solid parts from your CAD model. Okay, so very first step in the RP process is geometrical modeling. Okay, geometric modeling. Okay, so in geometric modeling, what we are doing, we are creating the component. We are developing the CAD model of your component into a 3D modeling software. Okay, so for this we may create model in your AutoCAD, CATIA, or whatever 3D modeling software you are using. Then there is next process, that is tessellation. So tessellation is in tessellation we are converting your CAD model into a computerized format, or which may not give the exact exact component, or you can say it is approximation of your product which you have created in your CAD modeling software and which is approximated by the surfaces which may be in the form of triangular or polygons. Okay, so tessellation is this tessellation is the tool for tessellation are available in almost all your modeling software. Even in your AutoCAD, you can tessellate your CAD model into STL files. Okay, so there is a file format that is called STL through in which your CAD model is converted. Okay, then once this tessellation process is completed, because this tessellation data is saved in some format like STL. If we have got if we have saved it as STL, then we need to work with those STL files. We need not to worry about your initial CAD model. Now we will focus on your STL file. Okay, so from this tessellated model, we do slicing of this tessellated model, that is STL files. So the third step in your RP process is slicing of the model into layer. Okay, so in this process, what we are doing, we have STL file, and we are slicing these STL files into the closely packed parallel horizontal layers. Okay, so this way your slicing of your CAD model takes place uh, through some slicing mechanism or slicing algorithm, or there are some dedicated softwares available in market through which you can do your slicing. Okay, so let us have a look at this CAD component. This is a CAD model. You can say this might have been drawn in, say, suppose AutoCAD. Okay, so in AutoCAD, those who have AutoCAD or CATIA, you will find all these options which I am telling in any of the modeling software. So you have this CAD model. You have developed this CAD model using your any CAD modeling software, or any CATIA Pro, whatever you are using, does not matter. But in all these modeling software, if you go into either you will find this option under export or save as mode. Okay, so either save as or either export, you will find the option as export as STL. Okay, so for tessellation, we are exporting your CAD model into a your into a computerized format. Okay, so this computerized format is normally STL, in which we are converting your CAD model. Okay, so after this tessellation is completed, uh, uh, we will import these STL files into some external some external slicing softwares. So there may be slicing algorithm or slicing software. So I will be trying to demonstrate in coming lecture few of these steps, that how we do slicing, how each sliced layer looks like. So these things I will be demonstrating through software also. So once this tessellation is completed, we go for slicing. Okay, so in tessellation you can see there are surfaces, there are polygons through which your product is being shown under the tessellation file. Okay, so there are triangles, there are surfaces in the form of triangles and polygons. Okay, so this way your tessellation is completed, and after this tessellation you are converting, you are slicing your tessellated file into layers. Okay, so how this layer by layer slicing takes place, let us try to understand. Okay, so let us see, we have a cup, this cup which is having this is handlebar, this is the handle of your cup, and we have developed the CAD model of your this cup into a CAD modeling software. First step is preparation of CAD model. We have completed, sorry, CAD model. Then second step, conversion of your CAD model into some tessellated file. So suppose we have created STL file. Then third step is your slicing. Okay, so as I told that in slicing, what we are doing, we are creating slices. We are dividing the whole tessellated file into closely packed layers. Okay, so suppose this is one layer, then we have another layer, then we have another layer, then we have another layer, something like this. Okay, so for clarity, I am drawing lines with certain distance. Otherwise, these slices are so closely packed that it looks like a solid model. Okay, so there may be suppose 100 layers or 1000 layers for for one product which is having 10 centimeter height. Okay, so just a second. Yes, sir. Yes. So there may be thousands layer in the total height of 10 centimeter or maybe more than that. Okay, so if we are seeing these layers when together, then this will look like a solid model. But let us try to see how a single layer looks like. Okay, so suppose I have a slicing plane, and I am trying to see which having thickness, suppose forget about thickness. Okay, so we have some slicing plane. We have sliced this model, and how this slice model will look like. Okay, so if you see from the top side, this geometry will appear like this. So this will be your solid part. Okay, so similarly for this. Okay, so this is how your one slice will look like. Okay, and suppose if you are creating another slide at some closely packed distance, so that slice will also look like the same. Okay, but if you are slicing at this point, okay, so then in that case, at the top slice layer look like this. It will look like this. Okay, so your top layer may look like this. Okay, so this way the same through mathematical algorithm or through with the help of your some external software, some standard software are available. There are number of softwares for slicing through which you can slice your CAD model, your tessellated model into layers. Okay, I hope this is clear. Uh, okay, if there is any doubt, you can ask in between. There is no issue. You can ask anytime. Okay, so I hope this slicing process is clear. How this slicing process takes place, and then we come some more. We will come to know more about your RP processes. I will today. I am discussing only an overview of RP processes. Okay, we will be discussing in more detail. By taking the example of the different technologies which has evolved as a part of your rapid prototyping. Okay, so as soon as this slicing is completed, now you can print each slice from the your slice data. You can print your you can add these sliced layers on any platform, and from bottom to top approach you are able to build a complete prototype of your design product. Okay, so this way adding a layer upon layer takes place, or the from bottom to top approach you are able to build your solid part. Okay, let us move ahead. So talking about RP, as I have told, this process has evolved from very beginning. Now the name kept on changing for this processes. Sometimes it was also known as layer manufacturing. Some people call it as direct CAD manufacturing, because we are creating your product directly from your CAD file. Some researchers call it as solid free form fabrication. So FFF is commonly known term. Then it has name rapid prototyping and manufacturing. So these name kept on changing, and nowadays this process is uh, very rich, and now the most commonly which is used either 3D printing or additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is more standardized when we are talking about additive type RP processes. So 3D printing is also popular, but in standardized term we are always using the term additive manufacturing. Okay, so let us move ahead. A short discussion on your classification of RP processes. So today I will be only naming these processes. In detail, we will be discussing in your throughout your semester. We will be discussing about these technologies. So I will not be elaborating much about when I am taking their names. There are several ways. Several RP technologies which have been developed recently, and the most strong classification which exists in the case of your RP processes is based on your starting material. So as I told, the starting material may be in the form of liquid monomers. So the very first classification is based on the processes which are liquid based RP processes. Then we have second type of RP processes. We have solid sheets which are laminated over one sheet is laminated over another sheet. Okay. Then we have third category, that is powder based. We have starting material in the form of powder, or and these powder are bonded and cured layer by layer in order to get your final product. Okay, so it is uh, in short. Let us come to the liquid based, that is the first type of RP processes. So in the case of liquid based processes, your starting material is liquid. Uh, in this liquid based technology, there are number of technologies, okay, that we will discuss in detail in later lectures. So these techniques are stereolithography, solid ground curing, droplet deposition manufacturing. Okay, so I am just taking their names so that you are aware about at least about the nomenclature which is being used in RP processes. Okay, so later on we will discuss each of these processes in detail. Stereolithography, then uh, okay, yes. So let me elaborate something. Okay, so stereolithography. So I will give only a brief. I will not discuss more. Uh, Stereolithography is a RP process for fabricating a solid plastic part out of a photosensitive liquid polymer using a direct laser beam to solidify the polymer. Okay, so when these photosensitive liquid polymers comes into the direct contact of the laser beam, it is get solidified. Okay, so uh, we have liquid polymer, and which is a photosensitive, which is having which is photosensitive material. And photosensitive material have a property that when they comes into the contact of in the direct contact of laser, they get solidified. Okay, so while creating the products using your stereolithography, we are using a direct laser. And uh, this direct laser is, when it comes on the surface of your liquid polymer, uh, photosensitive polymer, your surface of your liquid polymer is solidified and your one layer is completed. Okay, so the part fabrication is accomplished as a series of layers. One layer is completed, and as soon as one layer is completed, you add another layer on the previous layer to gradually build your 3D geometry. Okay, so the first RP technology, it was uh, uh, developed in the year 1998, which was by 3D System Incorporation, uh, based on the work of a researcher known as Charles Hall. Okay, so after that, some initial work was done, but later on this technology was patented, and due to patentability, due to patent issue, lot of people could not do further work, because once this patent is granted to someone, other people are not permitted to work in that, or other people are not permitted to develop the machine based on the patent which is granted to someone. Okay, so due to patent issue, no work, or the very less work could be done in this area. But once this patent expired, after say 15-20 years, so a lot of people, lot of commercial manufacturer came, and this technology progressed in a rapid manner. Okay, so now this technology is growing rapidly. You can find a lot of techniques in the area of your RP process. Okay, so you can understand the concept of stereolithography using your this simple diagram. In this, you have a container which is having your photosensitive liquid polymer. Okay, so this photosensitive liquid polymer, it is full of this liquid, and we have this base, and we have some laser source. So as we on this base, as soon as this laser comes on this surface, your liquid which is above this base is converted into solid part. Okay, so this liquid is converted into solid parts as soon as your laser is applied. Okay, and once this complete solid is converted into complete liquid is converted into solid layer, you what is required, some more liquid is needed above this your solid layer. So what we do, we in order to allow flow of liquid, we are reducing the height of your base. Okay, so we have this arrangement in order to move your base in top or down, bottom side. Okay, so we as soon as the liquid which is above this your base is solidified, what you do, you lower the position of your base, and this base is shifted by some layer height, say 0.05 mm. Okay, or say in micron, if it more accurate product needs to be manufactured. Okay, so say 0.005 mm or 5 micron. Okay, so sorry, millimeter. Okay, so 0.005. Suppose you have raised lowered your platform, then further your liquid will come over your solid layer, and again you will apply your laser head. Through laser head you will apply some laser, and this part will be again solidified. Okay, so this process is continued till your complete fabrication of your 3D component is done. Okay, so here you can see uh, from this to this was your starting figure. Here you can see wherever your laser is moving, your liquid polymer is getting solidified. So suppose initially your laser was moving on the whole surface, then we wanted to create a feature which based on your slice data. So this movement is controlled based on your slice data. So you can see the laser is only moving where solidification is required. So this way your solidification continues, and we continue adding one layer over another layer. Okay, so this way your complete product is produced, complete solid product is produced from the CAD model uh, to your physical model. Okay, so this here you can see one component which is produced by the process that is called stereolithography. Okay. In NIT Patna, we have one stereolithography apparatus. We have which is based on your uh, which uses your starting material as photosensitive liquid polymers, and you can we have one small laser source in that particular small 3D printer, where you can get your solid part. Okay, so hope when you will be coming physically, if this printer works well, I will be demonstrating I will be showing you how this printing of components from a CAD model into physical component takes place using your stereolithography technique. Okay, so here you can see this component has been prepared in single shot, no sub assemblies are there. Okay, by stereolithography process. Okay, so some facts about your STL files. So in STL file, you are converting your STL file into some slice data, and in slice data your layers thickness may be from 0.076 mm to 0.5 mm. So this may be quite thick. So why this thickness is important? If you are taking thin layer, you will get better resolution, you will get better accuracy, but it your prototype building time will increase. Okay, so large processing time will be required. But if you are taking thick layer, if you are using say layer thickness 0.5 mm, then your accuracy or resolution may not be as appropriate as you wanted. Okay, so the quality surface quality may not be appropriate, or some complex feature may not have been added or could be built accurately. Okay, so in stereolithography, the major issue is that your starting material is liquid monomer. That these are the photosensitive polymers which gets solidified as soon as your UV light or laser uh, uh, strikes over the surface of your liquid monomers. Okay. So this process is called polymerization. As soon as you expose your liquid monomer through laser beam, so this process is called polymerization. In polymerization, your liquid when as soon as this liquid is exposed to a laser, it gets solidified. Okay, so there is some standard scanning speed. This vary from 500 to 2500 millimeter per second. Okay, so uh, this is 320. So I will stop here and I will give 5 minutes for discussion. If there are any query, we can take up. Otherwise, I will stop today here itself, and we will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow is not your lecture. Maybe day after tomorrow. Okay. So any query you can ask or any doubt. Okay, one thing I would like to tell you all that feel free to ask queries if you are having any queries. Don't be scared because uh, uh, not all faculty members are encouraging to ask questions, but I especially encourage the students to ask questions as soon as you have 5 minutes in completing your lecture. So I will normally stop my lecture 2, 3, or maybe 5 minutes before your scheduled time, so that you get some time for interaction. Okay. So if there are any query, you can ask. Otherwise, I will stop. Okay. So, yes. So, yes. 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 Okay. So, in slicing, when you are tessellating your model, it is again your exactly your 3D CAD file. It is some translated model, but it is not. We are not getting your layer by layer data. Okay, and suppose you want to print some layer, then for that time you have to give your sliced data or your respective data which needs to be printed. Suppose how I will control the your say see this how I will decide that in which direction laser should move until unless I am having slide data, right? So if we have slice data, then only I will be actually slice data is nothing. It is if you if, I will show you someday that your slice data is showing only points that from this point to this point some your component is there, some data is there. Okay, so in each layer you will be able to identify how much movement is required or in which direction movement is required for printing your layer. Okay, that data you get from your sliced layer. Okay, so this data is prepared for each of the layer in your using your slicing algorithm or slicing software. Okay.